Welcome and thank you for standing by. Today's call is being recorded. If you have any objections, you may disconnect at this time. All participants are in a listen-only mode until the question-and-answer session of today's conference. At that time, you may press star 1 from your phone to ask a question. Questions will also be taken over the WebEx, in which you may type your question into the chat feature at any time. I would now like to turn the conference over to Dr. Nelson. You may begin.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to day 1 of Caribbean American Legislative Week. I'm so excited to be here this morning and continue a tradition we began some time ago, which is a tradition of figuring out first who we are, where we are, and this is really a good thing. So let's say today we're beginning at the census. Everybody knows that last year we dealt with the census, and so clearly we want to be back in form, so to speak, by understanding what do we find out about ourselves, where we are, who we are, what we're doing. Let me start off by saying we know not all the census data is out as yet, but we are here. And joining me this morning as a co-host of this segment is Violet Haldane. She's with the West Indian Foundation up in Hartford, Connecticut, and was a driver behind the Caribbean Complaint Count Committee in the Hartford, Connecticut region. So I'd like to turn the floor over now to Violet Haldane, who will do the honors of introducing what we can expect.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Nelson, and welcome everyone. First day of summer, so enjoy. Just a little background. As you know, the census is required by law that the population is counted every 10 years. It requires that every person living in the United States and 5 territories are counted, not just citizens. The results of the census informs federal funding for a certain program, over 100 programs. Some of those are like Section 8, WIC, school breakfast program, student loans. The other thing that the census does is it helps make sure we have representation and that our needs are supported. It determines the number of seats each seat will have in the U.S. House of Reps, and they are also used to draw congressional and state legislative districts. Also, the number of electoral college seats are determined by census numbers. So local lawmakers also use this information in their decision-making, such as where to build new schools, new hospitals, or even a new fire department. The information from the census is secure, and we completed the census last year, and as Dr. Nelson said, we are here to start providing some results and show you how this data can be used, how you can get the results and use the data. Today, we will have Ms. Toni Pitchford from the Census Bureau. She's a data dissemination specialist, and she's been working there since 1996. And also joining her will be Larry Carter, one of the coordinators. And so I am going to turn it over to Ms. Toni Pitchford, who will take us through this process as to how we can get this information for our use. Ms. Pitchford, we cannot hear you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Are you able to hear me at this point?
Yes.
Thank you so much for getting up and joining us this morning. It is an honor to be here. As you heard, I'm Toni Pitchford, and I am the Data Dissemination Specialist for the United States Census Bureau. I want to start by just giving you a brief introduction to me. I've been in several positions with the Census Bureau. I currently represent the states of Arkansas, Iowa, and Missouri, but I am a specialist who is available to you should you ever need any assistance. In the lower right-hand corner, I have put my email address as well as my phone number. You will see it again at the end of the presentation. My objective today is to identify needed geography to help you understand what the data tables are and what the IDs for those tables are. I want to talk to you about and help you understand the American Community Survey as it is different from the decennial census. I want to show you how to access ACS Caribbean data. And I want to show you how, for those of you that have the entrepreneurial spirit, I want to show you the Census Business Builder. That is used when you're looking for information in regards to how to get your business started or to write your business plan, or maybe you're just looking to do something within the community on a nonprofit basis. I also want to show you the data.census.gov. That way you will be able to go in and you will be able to utilize the data that is available. It's going to be a live demonstration, as I will also do with the Census Business Builder. The Caribbean island has a combination of peoples from Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, Bahamas, Cuba, Haiti, Trinidad, Tobago, and more. And they vary from pure race to mixed race, with a good amount of measuring that have roots from Americans, Europeans, Sub-Saharan African, Middle Eastern, East Asian, and Southeast Asian, as well as South Asian. According to the Institute of Caribbean Studies, Caribbean immigrants have been contributing to the well-being of American society since its founding. Alexander Hamilton, the very first Secretary of the Treasury, was from the Caribbean, of Nevis. Others among our famous sons and daughters include the Secretary of State Colin Powell, our wonderful actress Cicely Tyson, W.E. Du Bois, James Weldon Johnson, Harry Belafonte, and Sidney Poitier, just to name a few. So where does the data come from? American Community Survey, we call it ACS. That information is available on a 1-year basis or a 5-year basis. And the difference between the two is the fact that the 1-year data is for populations that are 65,000 or over, and the 5-year will give you data for communities that are under the 65,000 population. The one thing they have in common, however, is the fact that they are the estimates that we use as we go forward to help communities understand the changes that are going on before the next decennial comes about. Now, please be aware that the 2020 data has not been released as of yet, and I ask that you please stay tuned and we can review it together at a later date when it is available. We had some hiccups last year. Unbeknownst to us, it was beyond our control, but those numbers will be coming out soon, and I look forward to coming back and sharing them with you. ACS deals with race, Hispanic origin, foreign-born, ancestry. So when we talk about that, the 2020 census has a percent change in resident population for the 50 states and the District of Columbia. It also includes Puerto Rico. So what you see on your screen right now is basically for the decennial 2020. It's showing you the apportionments for the 2020. You can see the changes that are happening from 2010 to 2020. In the state of Illinois, you see that they have lost a congressional seat. Oh, I'm sorry, the percentage change. So Illinois is a minus 1% in population. Mississippi is a 0.02. Kansas has a 3%. Twice the U.S. North Dakota has twice the U.S. percent change. On the left-hand side of your screen, what I have given you is the visualization ID for the website for you to enter in order to go into this map. It is interactive. 2020 population, again, will be released later in the year, but for your review, here is a segment of what we know as of today. The Census Bureau announced that 2020 census shows the resident population of the United States, the entire United States, as of April the 1st, 2020, was 449,281. The U.S. resident population represents the total number of people living in the 50 states and the District of Columbia. The resident population increased by 22,703,743, or 7.4%, from the 308,745,538 of which we counted in 2010. Individual state populations are now available on census.gov. It's for the state. You are not able to collect the data at this point in regards to individual communities. You can't go into a certain city and collect the data at this point. What I've done here is I'm showing you a screen. So when we do the live presentation, you will be able to see what I am talking about. But we are able to go in and we are able to identify how people identify their ancestry. We have a universal population, which is a table ID of B04006. It's the 2019 one-year estimate detailed table, and what you see here is for the United States. I also started by putting in Georgia. So you can't see the full screen because it is simply a snippet for you to look at. But when we went into this, you can see on the left-hand side of the screen where it starts with West Indian, Hispanic groups, Bohemian, Belize, Dutch West Indian, Haitian, Jamaican. You will always be able to, based on the information on the right-hand side, you can see what survey is being used, you can see the table number, and you will always be able to see what year the population is. I apologize, my screen jumped. I pulled up the information for Georgia, Fulton County, and Atlanta. When we go into the live presentation, I will show you how you can use this, but I did this because I want you to be able to see that you can do comparisons. You can identify. What I have here is the place of birth for foreign-born population. It's the American Community Survey. It is the table code of C05006. It's the foreign-born population, but it excludes people born at sea. And it is the 2019 ACS one-year estimate detailed table. I want you to know about the geography. I want you to be able to see I have a feeling that my screen has understanding geographic relationships in regards to census data. When we talk about a block for the Census Bureau, it is not like the block we use when we walk out of our house. For a census block, it is defined, it's the smallest geographic level at which data is ever released. It's for the decennial census, not the ACS. But you will see that for us, I always identify it as to the right, to the right, to the right, to the right, because we use that as a measure for what we're looking for when we try to do a census block. When we go into a block group, as you can see, the 3014 block is now in a block group. A block group actually carries about an estimated population anywhere from 600 to 3,000. The housing units involved in a block group average about 240 estimated to maybe 1,200 housing units. So when you include those blocks into a block group, now what we want is a census tract, which is what so many utilize when they're trying to put together grants, when they're trying to put together business plans. It's the census tract. And that has an optimal population of about 4,000 people. However, when you are talking about population, it can average an estimate 1,200 over to about 8,000 in population. So it varies. But you can estimate approximately 480 to 3,200 housing units would be within a census tract. I added this because it's important if you are looking for something that is as detailed for your grants, your research, your planning, your entrepreneurial ventures. It is important that you know what the geography is about. But how do we tell what the tables are? Now, I'm not going to tell you a story this morning. I have a cheat sheet because we have so many tables available, I cannot remember them all. So I honestly keep something close to me, or I have another way, and I'll show you how I get into my data. But you will see on this slide that B indicates it's the initial character. So a B would be the base data, a DP would be the data profile, which is going to give you the most amount of data, and a S would be the subject. When you look at the first two digits, the 05, it is identifying the subject of the matter. When you see the next three numbers, it is a unique ID for the topic within the subject area. And, of course, when you look at the last letter, the suffix, it indicates the table repeated for 9 different major races. Understanding the code, you have a 2-digit state code. Your county code is 3 digits. It's always an odd number. Your tract code is going to be a 6-digit number. Your block group has 1 digit. Remember, we looked at the block. And then your block code has 4 digits in it, which would include the block group. Your metropolitan census area is a 5-digit code. And your place code begins, it's within the state. It has 5 digits to that. That's a lot, and I know it doesn't explain it as thoroughly as you would need it to be explained at this time. But I'm also hoping that you will ask me to come back and that we can have someone on the line with us that we can walk through more detail in regards to geography. When we go into the live demonstration, I'm going to take you to what is known as TigerWeb. TigerWeb is the census geography. When you go in and you select it, you're going to be on the left-hand side, you can see there's a drop-down box where it says current, but we always, or basically, we normally want to use the current data available. Right now, if you used it, you're going to be looking at 2019 data. But on this page, you see that you can choose, and I've selected here census tracts and blocks. So if you needed to see the area on a map that you are researching or looking for, you'll be able to do it by entering on the top part of the slide. You can put your address that you're looking for. Just put an address in, and this is going to show up for you. what you're going to find once you click on that is you're going to see we entered the address. It's in block group 1. The census tract is 2164.01. And as you can see, it is on the borderline. It is bordered off for you, so you can see that. On the left-hand side, you can see the address that I put in, the matching address where it identifies from the geocoding, and you can see the longitude and latitude coordination for that address. Another way of finding data on geography is an independent project called Census Reporter. This is really easy, and I cannot imagine just how they did this to become such an easy step for individuals to utilize. They use census data. And again, I tell you that this is an independent project. It's unaffiliated with the Census Bureau, but they use our data. If you go into, and you see I put the address up here, censusreporter.org, if you type in an address, this is what you get. You can see on the map that it has pinpointed the address that you entered. On the left-hand side of the screen, you see that it gives you the block group, the census tract, the zip code. It even gives you the school district. It tells you the place that you're looking within. It tells you the county subdivision. It gives you data in regards to the upper and lower houses of the state, whether it's the state representatives, the Senate, the congressional district, and the county. This is all done on one page. It's what I call a fast starter in geography. The bulk of the American Community Survey is over 1,400 detailed tables. These tables have reference codes, codes that start with either the letter B or C. It's followed by the 2 digits for the table subject, as we talked about. Then the 3 digits that will identify the table, uniquely identify it. And the tables beginning with B have the most detailed column breakdown, while a C table for the same numbers will have fewer columns. So B, remember, B will always give you more information. For example, if you typed in B02003 table, it would be detailed race, and it has 71 columns for you to look at, while the collapsed version of C02003 would only have 19 columns. I believe it's important that we are able to identify out basic information, and we have it. But sometimes we don't know exactly what we're looking for. So what I've done is I've simply identified, and this is going to be available. Larry has this presentation available if you want it, and he will send it to Dr. Nelson. What you can do is you can look. I gave you a cheat sheet. So the first 2 digits are after BC indicate the broad subject of a table. Remember that, please, many tables have more than just one subject, but this reflects the main subject, and it is the first 2 numbers. 01 is age and sex. 05 is foreign-born citizenship, year of entry, nativity. 09 would be children and household relationships. 17 would be poverty. 14 would be school enrollment. 27 would be health insurance, and 28 would be like computer and internet use. This is an example. Code titles, like the B02001, would be race. If you were looking for just one subject you only wanted white or in combination with one or more races, then that's VO2008. If you're looking for our Native Hawaiian and other Pacific Islanders alone or in combination, that would be B02012. These are important. Again, I tell you, I cannot remember them all on my own. I do have a cheat sheet. Last year was a hectic year for us. The COVID-19 took hold of our entire country, and we were able to identify, it's considered to be experimental data, but we were able to develop the COVID-19 Data Hub, where we were able to identify out, like the Household Pulse Survey. It identifies, and its design was to deploy quickly and efficiently data on how lives had been changed as it was impacted by the coronavirus. This would be on census.gov. On the bottom of this slide, if you look, it says COVID-19.census.gov. This is the Data Hub. You can see we have demographic and economic resources for you. You can see the data equity tools. There is the surveys, the estimates that we did, and this will give you information in regards to how COVID-19 affected us as a community. Community resilience, how did we fall back and fight? How did we fight with this? This is what the community resilience estimates will look like. You can explore the data, or there is a PowerPoint that you can look at. We looked at weekly household. It was a survey that was done. It took 20 minutes, and it was on the impact of households across the country from a social and economic perspective in order to see how COVID impacted our household. We also did the weekly small business survey, and this experimental survey measured the changes in business conditions on the nation during the coronavirus. I am happy to say that we have turned that corner and that we are coming back to some normality. Detailed tables from the household survey included educational tables, food sufficiency and food security tables. This is all within the COVID-19 Data Hub. Employment tables, stimulus tables, transportation tables, Social Security tables, spending tables, housing tables, how many families within our communities were evicted or lost their homes, the health tables. There is data available. So if you're looking to do something for the aftermath of coronavirus, even though I know we're still in it, this is some of the data that you can utilize and identify. This is based upon St. Louis, Missouri. It's a county COVID impact for planning in regards to the COVID. You can see that it talks about the total population, the total households, the average household size, the median age within the area, and how much internet they had at home. You can see the various identification marks here. You can see it looks at employer establishment, how many businesses were in that area, the total employees impacted by COVID, household receiving food stamps or SNAP. This information was in here. Households that was below the poverty rate. You can see households with a population of 65 and over living alone during this, and how many households within the area dealt with disability. COVID-19 had a major impact upon us as a country. The data that we have collected hopefully will assist you as you are looking at helping the resilience of the communities that you serve. I am truly hopeful that it is a valuable resource for you to use. What about our businesses? What happened to the businesses within our communities? Well, we have a website called the Census Business Builder, and it was developed before COVID-19 hit the country. It was designed to help small business owners understand what it is that is happening within a community where they plan to place their business. It is a suite of services that provided selected demographic and economic data from the Census Bureau, and it was tailored to specific types of users in a simple-to-access and use format. When you go on www.census.gov, you would go scroll down to the Census Business Builder. As you see, our acronym is CBB. But this is what the page would look like, and we are currently on 3.3. This is an economic tool, and it is valuable for those that are looking for the economic redevelopment of communities. This is the small business edition. It's primarily used for small business owners. When you go into that, when you click on that small business 3.3, what you see is that you will have the type of business that you want to research. I apologize. You can select, and this is what we have at this point. And, of course, I'm pretty sure that we're going to be adding some new areas. But right now, here are the 6 areas that we do have: construction, personnel services, personal services, retail, healthcare, food services, professional and business services. Once you choose an area, and I chose the food service, what you will see is what type of business that you want to research. So within the food service, we chose bakeries, bars, buffets, caterers, restaurants, fast foods. I chose restaurants. On the left-hand side, you see that we have identified what it is that we're looking for, the restaurants within the food service. If we include a city, if you find either your location, but I suggest you type in the area that you're looking for. You can go by a zip code, you can go by the city, you can go by the state. You can identify out the information. I normally go to the map so I can see what the area looks like and what the map is looking like, or you can simply just create a report. But I like to choose the map. So if you notice here, I chose Des Moines, Iowa. And what happens here is you see that the light blue border, it identifies out, and it gives you a brief summary. We see that the median household income for this area is $53,525. We see that the percentage is 86.3 of people who have a high school or better. Over on the side, you will see that it's the 1 and 2. This is something new for us. We used to have one filter that we would use, but we have been profited by the brilliant minds within our economic division. And they've added a second area where we can identify. So we know we want to see what the population is within an area where we're looking to open up in a business, but we also want to see what that median household looks like, because can they afford your service? That's what you want to know. Can they actually afford the services that you are providing? On that page, you would have create a report. And when you click on that, this is what you will see. The contents will come up. You will see that you can identify your customers, You can see how many businesses are like yours. You can see the consumer spending. And we're able to tell you in dollars, because of some of these surveys that we provide, you can see how they spend their money on alcoholic beverages, on men, women, children, apparel, on footwear. This gives you an idea of how the community would spend their money and if it would be of value to you. Now, just for a moment, I'm going to leave this up while I tell you what I want to do next is I want to go into a live demonstration so that I can show you exactly what it is that I have been demonstrating on these pages. I am a visual person, so I can tell you that I believe in seeing what it is that we do, and I want you to see it as well. Larry, Dr. Nelson, can you see my screen?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Okay. I have typed in www.census.gov. I want you to see this data. So when I click on that, this is the page that you are going to see. This is where you're going to explore data, and because we were on the COVID-19 and we were on the Census Business Builder last, I want to show you this and then go down into the data so that you can see the data. But when you get to this page, you type in, if you know what you're looking for, you can type it into the search box. But here, you go to Explore Data, Experimental Data Products, you will find this. There is an array of information available to you. And we keep building on this. We are trying to make sure that you have the most up-to-date information available. So let me start with the Household Pulse Survey. I want to go into the vaccination tracker. When I click on that, this is what comes up. This is interactive. When you start scrolling across the map, it shows you the percentage of individuals that have been vaccinated. Now, this is from May 26th to June the 7th. This is the latest data that is available to you at this point. 78.9% of United States adults have received at least one dose of COVID-19. 99.2% of those have received at least one dose of a vaccine and have received or plan to receive all required doses. Georgia has a 74.5% vaccination. You can see here by vaccination rate by characteristics, Hispanic origin and race, education, insurance status, COVID-19. So if I went into age and went into Georgia, did that pop up? Okay. If you go into age, you can see between the 18 to 24, you see here The highest population that has been vaccinated is 65 and above. If you look at the sexual format of vaccinations, you see that our male population is at 78.6 as opposed to 79.2% of women within the state of Georgia. Hispanic and race. If we talked about the white population, 79.8% vaccinated. Two or more races, not Hispanic, 67.7. This is data that you can see. You can use this if you're working within the health field and you're trying to put a grant together. You can see here, based on education, you can see that those with a degree, bachelor's or higher, is at a higher rate of vaccination, 90.4%, and those that have less than a high school, we're at 68.6%. If we wanted to go and identify it by insurance, covered by some kind of insurance was at 82.6%. Those with no insurance, no kind of any, 58.3%. And for the state of Georgia, the COVID-19 status, not previously diagnosed with COVID, is at 80.6%, and 68.3% were previously diagnosed with the COVID-19. That's a part of the COVID-19 vaccination tracker. If we go up to the United States Census in the dark blue border, if we click on that, it takes us back to the main page. If we go into Explore Data, Data Tools, and Apps, it's the last line on the column. Once we click on that, you can see there is an array of information here for you. If you want to see the response rate for the 2020 census, you can see that. But we're looking for the Census Business Builder. I'm going to click on this. As I showed you on the slide, version 3.3, when I click on that, it gives us the best location for your business. I chose food services. I chose restaurants. Type in a location. Once you start typing, you will see that there is a drop-down box. I'm going to choose Atlanta, Georgia. I could just choose to do a report, but that's not what I want. I want to see it on the map. And this is what we get. You can see on the border for Atlanta what we have. On the top in the light blue, it is the type of business that we're interested in. It's the food services, restaurants. You see that we have identified the location for Atlanta, Georgia. We have variables that we can look at. I'm going to use the drop-down box on the first variable, which is your total population, but we could change that. We could either do it by demographic or socioeconomics or housing characteristics. I like to leave population as my first variable. My second variable could be socioeconomic. What's the percentage of poverty? within an area. Maybe my service is too expensive. But once I do that, it didn't show. Okay. Well, let's do. Go to the bottom of the page and select the variable. Now you see under the variables we have total population and the percentage within poverty. We're still within the border of Atlanta. .8% within the Atlanta, Georgia, is the percentage in the poverty rate, with 488,800 as population total. There is a margin of error of 108. Now, we've seen the map. We've looked at the map. We can identify out where we are. I want to change this so you can see a better view of it. So this is the outline. But now what I want to do is I just want to show you how to create the report. On the left-hand bottom corner of this page, when you click on that, a report is being created for the restaurant business in Atlanta, Georgia. Again, it's going to tell you about your customers, the businesses like yours, and their consumer spending. You can see that with the population of 488,000 plus, you have 48.5%. You can see the male and female percentage within in the city. Under 5.4%. I use the analogy that at 5.4% of the population, McDonald's is not expecting to sell a lot of Happy Meals. But they will get quite a few if you look at the 18 and over for the college students and seniors included, 81.7% and then 11.5%. If you put those together, there's a lot of breakfast and coffee going on. But you can see the demographic characteristics. You can see based on the age. You can see it based on race. So you see here that we have a 0.04% Native Hawaiian or Pacific Islander within the city of Atlanta, Georgia. So if there is an opportunity to build upon our communities, this is the way that we would be able to pinpoint where and how we can go. If we look at the socioeconomic of the community, you see that the average median household is about 59,948, with 90.9% having a high school degree or higher. And then if we look at that, we see that we have 20.8% in poverty. We looked at that earlier. You see we have a total of 89.7% for those with health coverage. And it takes an approximately 27.2 minutes for people to travel to work. Let me say this to you. All of this is census data that we collect when we're talking to residents within the community. The data that we provide is based upon the information that is provided to us by the respondents when the census either knocks on your door, sends you a letter, or calls you on the telephone. Households with no vehicles available in Atlanta, Georgia, is about 15.8%, but with one vehicle available, you have a 46.4% rate. Look at how many people are using public transportation, 10.4%. There is a 4.7% of veterans, but here we have a 7.6% of foreign-born population. Asian Pacific Islander languages at home is a 0.8%. This is information that can be valuable as you're doing your research. It is valuable as you are looking to build on a business, whether you're already in business or as you begin to develop the entrepreneurial spirit and open up something that you have been thinking about and now you're ready to get started. Here's your housing information. You see the home ownership rate in Atlanta as opposed to the state and the United States. We're here, you see there's over 246,000 housing units in Atlanta. 89,000 of those is owner-occupied, while 116,000 plus are renter-occupied. Single-family detached, you see the home ownership rate is at 43.5%. Your vacancy rate, percent with broadband internet subscription, and you see the median owner-occupied unit value is about $290,000. Selected monthly owner cost is about $1,500, and rent is averaging in at a median of about $1,153. The median year that the building of homes is 1979. This is your NICS code. It's called your sector code, 722511, which includes restaurants, businesses primarily providing food for patrons that order and served while seated, and they pay after eating. I hope they pay. But take a look. In Atlanta, you have 675 employer establishments. They average about 34 employees. The average payroll per employee is about $21,900. Each employee averages about 689 customers. This information is available with Census Business Builder. You can see the average revenue per employer, per employee. Each employee brings in about $63,000 a year. Average revenue, total revenue of employees. If you were interested in whether people were building, you see here building permits are identified for you. 1 unit, 2 units, 5 units, 5+ unit buildings, and you see the value of that. When we talk about whether or not a community can afford a service, look at their consumer spending. You can see here that we are either looking at the household value, and this is approximately $85,000 a year, and this is per household. Please keep in mind that individual and households are, you know that they're different. So this $85,000 basically identifies within a total household. That would be all income coming into the house. So on alcoholic beverages, it averages about $696. If we were talking about children's apparel, about $374. If we are talking about, and because we looked at restaurants, consumer expenditures on per household for food away from home, the median spent is about $4,300, and of that, you can see $447 of that is for breakfast, over $1,300 is for lunch, and over $2,000 is used for dinner. here is the discretionary funds that you're looking for when you're making your business plan. You can see that on per household on education, about $1,800. Household entertainment. The list goes on. About $6,300 on health, medical service, non-prescription drugs. This is the data that you are looking for when you are putting your plans together, when you are researching. And it doesn't necessarily have to be for business. You can take a look at this data and use it for so many other things. Now I want to take you into data.census.gov. Please be aware that I realize that this is a lot of data in a short period of time, but I wanted you to see those two things. I wanted you to see the COVID, and I wanted you to see the Business Builder. Now, when you're researching your data, if you type www.data.census.gov, I know that's right. I apologize. There it is. www. It's data.census.gov. This is the page that you're going to come upon. If we wanted to go in and if we were looking for race, in the search bar, if I just type race, we can see annual estimates, ACS demographics, but take a look at the table. The ACS demographic and housing estimates, it's the data profile, DP05. The survey is the American Community Survey. You can identify data from 2010 all the way up to 2019 if you're doing comparisons. If you click on that, what you see, it is the DP05, demographic housing, and under product, you see here that this is the one-year estimate. That is going to be for populations that are 65,000 and over. The drop-down box will allow you to look at the 5-year. But again, you can go all the way to 2010. Because of the various communities, I am going to change it from the 1-year to the 5-year estimate because I want to be able to see other areas. Now, I'm not interested at this point with just the United States. I want to customize my table. If you click on Customize, if you go to Geography, it's the third box on the white long column. I'm going to ask you what you're looking for. So I'm looking for the county, and I'm looking for the county in Georgia, and I want Fulton County. Oh, let's change it up. Let's look in Clay County. I clicked on Clay County, but if I wanted to see and I was in a hurry, I could click on the magnifying glass and I could type in Fulton. As you see, it started coming up from the drop down. Please be aware, I want you to remember, on the bottom for selected geographies, make sure that your selection is on the bottom. When you see that, close it. The data you're looking for now is Clay County, Georgia, and Fulton County. This is your demographic and housing. But as we go through this, here's your data. We're looking at Native Hawaiian and other Pacific Islanders. You can see the rate, population, the variance between the two. If I took that out, and just typed in Caribbean, you're not going to find anything. What you need to put into this box Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander. Anthony, am I out of time?
I don't think so. I'm not sure what the limit is, Larry.
Okay. No, you can continue on, and we'll make time for questions.
Okay. So I have typed in Pacific Islander. As you can see, you can have Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander. You can see sex by age for Pacific Islanders, median age Native Hawaiian, but I want the detailed profile. The data is the same. Remember I showed you just by going into ACS housing demographics for race, this is what comes up for the Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islanders. I want to see something more. If I want to come out of this and I want to go back into my geography. Well, I don't want Clay County anymore. Now I want to just look at Fulton County, which is still here, but I also want to choose a place within Georgia. I can choose all places in Georgia, or I could just, and remember, this is a 5-year estimate, so I can do populations under 65,000. So if I chose Athens, Atlanta, how about Byron? Emerson. What I have now is Fulton County and 3 other cities. They are now listed on the bottom of the page. I'm going to click close.
Tony, in the chat, you're being asked to type Caribbean with 1 R, to try it with 1 R instead of 2 R's. They're asking that in the chat.
Thank you. There it is. It comes up. It's the same as what we had before. Family, household, marital status. What we're looking at now We have 4 geographies. And I did choose the search. So Fulton and Atlanta are the only 2 that came up. And we were on the 5-year. I'm sorry. It's showing the... I messed myself up, Larry. Sorry. Okay, so what I have here is I'm only able to get the 1-year estimate. So if I wanted to go back, I'm going to take Fulton County out. I've typed in Caribbean, I'm sorry. Atlanta comes up, and again, one-year estimates are for 65,000 population and over. So you see the total, what we have here is the American Community Survey, selected population profile, we've chosen Caribbean. You see the age, you see the male-female ratio, you see the age, the relationship of households, household type. You see our average household marital status, whether they're married, widowed, divorced, school enrollment, educational attainment, fertility, responsibility for our grandchildren, veteran status. All of this is based upon the Caribbean information. When we typed that in, this is what came up. We were only able to get the 1-year estimate. If I go in, if I take Byron out or Emerson, choose place, you want to do a comparison, we've got Atlanta, you want to look at your congressional districts within Atlanta, and we can see what we get. I apologize for the slowness that it is taking for my system to, we may still be shaking from the tornado last night. If it doesn't come up momentarily, I'm going to change over to something else. Okay. That is not working for us. I'm going into the advanced search. Now, what happens when I go into advanced search? I'm going to start that from the beginning. If I hit advanced search, here I would go into topics. And I click on topics. I'm going to go to race and ethnicity. When I click on that, you can see that you can choose what you're looking for. We want Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islanders. So if I click on that and hit search, there's your information. On the left-hand side, all of the data here is going to be in regards to our Native Hawaiian and other Pacific Islander community. I'm going back, and sometimes I'm redundant, but I just want to make sure that you see what I did. I clicked on the census. I clicked on advanced search. I chose a topic of race and ethnicity. I scrolled down until I found Native, Hawaiian, and other specific islanders. It showed up on my selected filters on the bottom. When I clicked on search, this is what came up.
Ms. Tony, they're asking if you could click on, if you could select Jamaican or Haitian.
Let's see. That may come under nativity or ancestry. Did I spell that right? I'm about to find out. Did I miss a J?
Jamaica.
No, Jamaican. Okay. Jamaican. It still comes up as Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islanders. Now, let me type this for you. If we type in ancestry, I'm going to choose people reporting a single ancestry. Here is where you will find all right, so Cape Verdean, Nigerian, Somalian, Jamaican, Haitian. It's under the West Indies. But this is not all that I want. I don't want this just for the United States. I want to customize my table, so I go back to Customize Table. Our geography is still Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm going to find Georgia, and I'm going to type in Atlanta. As I started, it dropped down. I'm going to click on that. It shows on the selected geographies. I'm going to close it for Atlanta, Georgia. Now I'm going back to West Indian. Here you can see that in the Atlanta area, in the Bahamian, you have 81 estimated. Jamaican, we're looking at approximately 1,547. That is the 1 year. That's the 5-year estimate for the city. If we wanted to change that and take a look, well, it won't allow us to take a look at 1 year. So if we look at Haitians, you were looking at 854. Virgin Islanders, U.S. Virgin Islanders, 118. West Indian, we're looking at 118. West Indian, 422. Other West Indian, 5. There is a difference between race and ethnicity. So that's something that maybe we can get into at a later date. But if you're looking to break it down by ancestry, then this is what you would type into the search bar. This is how we would find that data. This is where we would find that data. Are there any questions right now for me?
I don't see any.
Okay.
Yes. I think you're looking at the wrong data. This is 2019. You seem to be looking at 2019 ACS. What we were looking to find out is how we did in the 2020 census. We were told specifically to type in our race, which is black, to check the race block, black, and then the race box, black, to write in Jamaican or Haitian or whatever. If we did that in 2020, that would not be on the 2019 ACS data. That would be on the 2020 census. Is that data available as yet, or is it not available as yet?
It is not available as yet. At the beginning,
okay.
I was explaining that the numbers have not. I can give you the data as I did for the state, but the data for individual cities has not been released. No, we don't care about that. We just want to know nationally if we did, because, we had a national campaign to get Caribbean people to participate in the census. So if you could just share with us, because we only have 8 minutes, if you could just share with us what was the 2020 census in general, and do we have any gross numbers on how we seem to be counting at this level, at the national level? That was very helpful. Thank you. Okay.
So for the 2020 census, the demographic data hasn't been released as of yet. So that's going to be.
So we have no numbers at all?
So we have the general population, which is not what you're looking for. You're looking for the demographic.
Oh, okay. Got you. Okay.
The general number has been released of the total population count, which is here on the screen that Tony is sharing right now.
What you can see, how many people who are black and of the black.
Yeah,
okay,
right.
Got you.
That's so that's under the demographic data. So that'll be coming out later this year. So we'll definitely come back.
Great. So we have to come back later this year then. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Fantastic. Thank you. Because I'm saying 1,000 Jamaicans in Atlanta, that can't be right. And every 1,000 Jamaicans in just two streets in Atlanta.
Dr. Nelson, that's our way of keeping you coming back.
Thank you. We'll be back. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. But the data that we have right now, I am hoping that what I have shown the audience at this point is going to be of service for them as of now. It's an introduction. And this is the same steps that you're going to be able to use once the 2020 data is released. It would be the same process. The only difference would be instead of being 2019, it's going to be 2020.
That's excellent. That's wonderful. We definitely have to come back. As soon as we hear that it's released, we definitely have to come back because I'm sure people are on tenterhooks. There was major campaigns in New York and Atlanta and Maryland area and Boston. A lot of people did a lot of work. So we want to see, if possible, that difference between how we counted in 2010 and how we counted in 2020. That would be great to see that comparison, to see if we're any better at getting our numbers up. So this is good. So now I see what you do. So now at least we know how to access the data. We know that there are all these tools, and you have some fabulous tools. And other people, obviously, and NGOs are also using your tools to create other data, so nobody has any excuse to say they can't find the data. This is wonderful.
Thank you so much. On the screen now, you see, if you have any questions, please let me tell you that we have data specialists across the United States. We have 6 regions, and if you dial 1-844-ASK-DATA, you will get our live person on the phone, or you can email us at census.askdata@census.gov. If you're interested in a presentation, you can always call and you can ask, let them know what region, what state you're in. I'm not going to say region. Let them know where you are, and they will identify someone from that area that can assist you or feel free to contact me. Again, at the beginning, I told you that I would always be available to you. You could email me, or you could call me. So I am Tony. I am your data specialist. I'm available to you. You're in the Atlanta region. You are, so feel free to call on us. We are yours. Dr. Nelson, do you have any questions for me at this point?
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you. And Violet, you're in Hartford. We also have on the call, I think, somebody from Boston. We have somebody from New Jersey, as far as I know anyway, based on some of the names I saw listening in. And they're organizing different groups. So I don't have any questions because I think you have solved my problem, which was, when do you think the 2020 data is going to be out?
Larry?
So the data is going to be released to the states in August, but that isn't the pretty data that you just saw. That's going to be more complicated. So we're looking more towards September for it to be packaged and put out for consumption. So maybe we could come back and do something in October or November if
Fabulous.
Having another. Okay, we
that's very good. So Tony, so Miss Tony, thank you so much for your comments. I'm not sure if anybody on the call. I think Andrew from Boston is there. Maybe he can put something in the chat. And Violet, do you have any questions based on what's happening in Hartford?
Not at the moment. We're interested in seeing the state and the local data for the Caribbean population to see if we've grown.
Okay, so we have to come back definitely for sure in October, November to get that. But this is good to get started for those people who, the other question is, how can we share this data, this presentation? Is it going to be available to us to put on our website?
Yes, ma'am. I can send you the PDF of the presentation, but it's also going to be on the census website. So it's been recorded so people can come back and watch it if you want to send people back.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we'd like to do that. We definitely like to do that because, I'm sure people, yes.
It'll be
awesome.
In 2 weeks. Yes, ma'am.
This is wonderful. Wonderful. Last question, is there a possibility, I'm not sure what the politics and the policies are in terms of census being on a radio show. There are a couple of shows around the country. What is the current status of how that work is? And if we want to get more people, like say we don't want to get Miss Pitchford to be interviewed on a couple shows, and then she can just talk about what we talked about today, and then we send them to this tape. How would that work?
So you can send me the request for the location of where the radio station is, and what I'll do is I'll send it and partner it. So we'll have media specialists come out and be the representation for the radio show. Okay,
and then that person would just point them to, because this would obviously be after we have this online and we can share, go there and look at the presentation. Okay, excellent.
Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. Awesome. That's it for me. No other questions?
No, just thank everyone. It was a great presentation with a lot of information and how it can be used.
Thank you, and thank you all for your time, and thank you, Tony, for being a part. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. It was an honor.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Miss Tony.
Thank you, Dr. Nelson.